Welcome to this explainer. So, being highly intelligent sounds like an absolute blessing, right? I mean, who wouldn't want that? But today, we're going to dive deep into the psychological realities of having a highly active mind. And honestly, we're going to completely deconstruct the myth of easy intelligence. If you've ever felt like your brain is running a marathon while literally everyone else is just taking a leisurely stroll, well, you're in the right place. We're looking at the hidden tax of a high IQ and exploring the fascinating and, often misunderstood struggles that come with having a truly sharp mind.
You see, there's this stark contrast between public perception and private reality. People naturally just assume your life is easier, that you solve problems way faster, and that you succeed without even trying. But the truth is that high intelligence comes with some really intense silent struggles. Psychology actually shows us that highly intelligent people face profound emotional, social, and existential challenges that the people around them rarely even understand. It's not just about, acing tests. It's a completely different way of processing reality. So, the really crucial point here is that this isn't just anecdotal. It is solidly backed by psychology. We're going to explore 8 distinct, very real struggles that highly intelligent people face every single day. We'll be breaking them down into clear, psychological themes to show you exactly why they happen. By understanding these 8 points, you'll gain this profound insight into the hidden mechanics of the gifted mind, whether that mind is yours or maybe someone you really care about.
Section 1. The overactive mind, the cognitive trap.
Let's look at the internal reality here. How an intelligent brain operates in isolation, how it constantly craves complexity and relentlessly analyzes literally every single piece of data it encounters. Your mind never shuts off. You analyze words, situations, even your own emotions way too deeply. While others might, encounter a problem, make a choice, and just easily move on, you are replaying every single possibility in your head. You map out every scenario, every potential failure, every hidden variable. You're not just deciding what to eat for dinner, you're running a full mental algorithm on nutritional value, prep time, and existential purpose. Or, maybe you just spent a full hour researching which brand of paper towels is statistically the most absorbent. Sounds like a great problem-solving tool, right? Actually, it's what psychologists call analysis paralysis, when too much thinking makes decisions much harder instead of easier. You essentially become paralyzed by the sheer volume of data your own brain is generating.
Because your brain inherently demands stimulation, routine tasks or repetitive conversations can feel, frankly, painfully dull. You crave mental challenge. So if you're zoning out, procrastinating, or losing motivation during mundane tasks, it's not because you're lazy. It's because your brain absolutely requires more complexity to stay engaged. On top of that, you don't just accept things at face value. This deep curiosity forces you to question everything: traditions, authority figures, and incredibly, even your very own thoughts. Now, this drives incredible innovation for sure, but it can also make you stick out like a sore thumb in a more traditional environment.
Section 2. The social disconnect, the external reality.
So that internal cognitive trap we just talked about naturally bleeds into your external reality. What happens when this endlessly overactive, highly analytical brain interacts with the rest of the outside world? Well, spoiler alert, it's not always a smooth transition. Have you ever been at a party and felt completely alone? You're craving depth over small talk. You want deep, meaningful conversations about philosophy, psychology, or massive abstract ideas. But most people, they don't want to dive into the meaning of the universe over their lunch break. They just want to make simple small talk about the weather or a TV show. And this massive disconnect can leave you feeling terribly isolated and deeply misunderstood, even when you're standing right smack in the middle of a crowded room.
Compounding this social isolation is the heavy burden of hyper-awareness. You notice patterns, behaviors, and tiny emotional shifts that others completely miss. Now, on one hand, this is a brilliant superpower, but on the other, it creates this heightened sensitivity to negativity, dishonesty, and manipulation. It's almost as if your brain automatically highlights every hidden motive in the people around you. Seeing the world with a contrast turned up that high, it's incredibly exhausting, and it makes casually socializing feel a bit like navigating a minefield.
Section 3. The trap of perfection, the pressure cooker.
I thought you were smart. Ouch. This is perhaps one of the most damaging phrases a highly intelligent person can hear. Because you have a history of success, people just expect you to always perform flawlessly. We're moving into the performance aspect of high intelligence here, exploring the very real societal and self-imposed consequences of being known by literally everyone as the smart one. There's this constant, crushing pressure to succeed perfectly. If you make just one single mistake, a momentary lapse in judgment, a normal, everyday human error, it triggers fear and totally unfair judgment from others. Suddenly, your entire intellect is called into question over one tiny misstep.
And this external pressure builds up a staggering amount of extreme anxiety and a really potent fear of failure, which leads directly to the psychological phenomenon of imposter syndrome. Despite overwhelming evidence of your competence and intelligence, you walk around with this persistent, nagging fear that you're a fraud. You think that at any moment, everyone is going to find out that you aren't actually as smart as they think you are. It is a heavy burden, fueled directly by that immense pressure to succeed we just talked about.
But hey, it's not just external pressure. Internally, you set impossibly high standards for yourself. Psychology calls this maladaptive perfectionism. It's the toxic belief that anything less than absolutely perfect is a complete failure. There's no middle ground here. No, oh, that's good enough. This relentless internal drive often leads straight into a brick wall of burnout, profound frustration, and a persistent tragic feeling of never quite being adequate no matter what you actually achieve.
Section 4. The emotional weight, the unexpected toll.
Society often equates high intelligence strictly with cold, calculating logic, like a computer. But the psychological reality is very, very different. The climax of these struggles is heavily emotional. Highly intelligent people are very often deeply, profoundly empathetic. You understand people's struggles almost too well. And this leads to a process called emotional contagion. You don't just sympathize with others, you actively absorb their pain and carry heavy emotional weight that isn't even yours to begin with. You take on the emotions of the room without even realizing it. This completely shatters the stereotype of the cold genius. Your intense cognitive processing extends right into emotional processing, leaving you feeling incredibly heavy and drained after interacting with others.
Section 5. Reframing the rare gift. Finding balance. Okay, so we've covered a lot of heavy ground today. But being highly intelligent isn't just about having all the answers or carrying all this weight. It's really about seeing the world in intricate, complex layers that others simply can't see. So, we have to ask the big question. Is your mind a curse? After talking about analysis paralysis, the isolation, imposter syndrome, and emotional contagion, well, you might be tempted to say yes. It's true that this intense awareness can be lonely. It can be confusing. And yeah, it can sometimes be acutely painful. But let me be entirely clear based on the psychological evidence, it is absolutely not a curse. It is, in fact, a rare and beautiful gift. But to manage the heavy psychological toll we've outlined, you have to establish strict boundaries to protect your energy from that emotional contagion. You got to actively seek out the right people, those rare individuals who actually want to dive into the deep end of the conversation with you, and you absolutely must deliberately find mental balance to quiet that overactive mind. Think of it like this. Your intelligence is an incredible engine, but it requires the exact right maintenance to run smoothly without burning out. If this explainer felt deeply personal to you, I want to leave you with this final, really important thought. You're not too much. You just think deeper than most. Your intense mind, your high standards, your deep empathy, they are entirely valid. You should never, ever apologize for how your brain works. The world needs people who see the hidden layers, for sure. So the next time your mind starts racing 1,000,000 miles a minute, I want you to ask yourself, how can I use this depth to solve a problem no one else even sees yet?